let's go over to Tiffany Henyard, right? Because I do want to talk about Tiffany. I want to give y'all an update on what's going over there. She is absolutely pissed. And when I say pissed, she is 100% pissed about being pushed out of the primary for Thornton Township. Check it out.
We're learning more about last night's Democratic caucus in Thornton Township, which may result in Tiffany Henyard's name not being placed on the ballot for supervisor.
Nate Rogers has been following this story closely, joining us live now with the latest on what's happening. Nate?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. What a mess. I got to tell you, we've been speaking to attorneys all day long about yesterday's very...
Does Nate have a matching sweater with his jacket? Is Nate coordinating? Is he coordinating? Shout out to Nate. Nate occasionally breaks out and he say, hey, listen, this ain't the Nate of last year. I'm upgrading this year. Nate occasionally breaks out and he gets the matching sweater with the jacket, with the hat. I'm surprised he ain't got the gloves on there too. I just learned something new the other day. I went and bought some gloves. And Rita said, I bet you don't know what the tips of those gloves are for. I said, I bet you I do. These gloves, I bought these gloves and they had these tips on them right here. She said, I bet you don't know what the tips of those gloves is for. I said, it's for decoration. I don't know. And she said, it's for being able to scroll through your phone and tap the screen of your phone. I said, what? I didn't know that. I'm so used to wearing the leather gloves. We're not wearing these. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that the tips of these is so that you can actually scroll through and do stuff on your phone like normal? I just found that out. I learned something new the other day. Let's continue, Nate.
Very chaotic caucus, Democratic caucus in Thornton Township. Attorneys representing...
Now, everybody, I know that a lot of y'all knew, but some people didn't know that. Some people didn't know that. Some people didn't know that, all right?
Senator Napoleon Harris, who led the caucus, tell us that Henyard did not have a full slate, including a certified assessor. We also spoke to Henyard herself by phone today, and her attorney, they claimed that she was specifically targeted by caucus rules.
Napoleon Harris is a coward. He is a coward for not allowing the people to be heard.
Those rules eliminated any chances that Tiffany Henyard had, even if she had nominated anyone, even if she had nominated herself.
And take a look at your screen. Attorney Max Solomon is referencing this document right here, page 5 of caucus rules.
There's people in the chat that's saying that they didn't know. Stop acting like everybody knew. If it's only 1% of us that just now figured it out, it was worth talking about.
Supervisor candidates cannot already appear on the ballot for another office. Henyard is currently running for re-election as Dalton's mayor. Solomon says they did not receive caucus rules until the day of. Harris's attorney says they could have asked for the rules earlier. Now, yesterday's caucus was slated to start at 7 p.m., but Harris's supporters were pre-registered. They were allowed in earlier. The caucus lasted 7 minutes, with Harris being nominated as Thornton Township Supervisor for the Democratic ticket. Fox 32 reached out to a non-partial election attorney and sent her the caucus rules. Here's more from attorney Carolyn Kaufner.
I have reviewed the caucus rules that they employed yesterday, and I know that they weren't followed because one of them requires everybody who's there, who's voting, to sign in and sign an affidavit attesting that they're qualified under the rules set forth by the election code and also by the caucus. I know there were people present there that didn't sign those affidavits who voted anyway, so that shows me there's a flaw. I know there were candidates for other offices who are not members of the Democratic Party who are running in this election as independent candidates for office in Thornton Township. I've heard they were present and participating. So what it sounds like is this was a little bit of a free-for-all.
So, and again, this is one of the reasons why I was saying that yesterday, is that all they're doing is setting up the township to have to spend more money, because you know that it's going to be lawsuits filed, and you know that there's going to be more contention. And I don't understand why. Listen. Everybody was so celebratory yesterday because they don't like Tiffany Henyard. And I agree that I believe that she did a horrible job as a Thornton Township supervisor and as the Dalton mayor, as I am familiar with a lot of the things that she did. But when you rush things through, when you have a 7-minute meeting, when you don't actually do things, and when people can see, the initial reaction is always going to be, oh, yeah, they got her out of there and all of this other stuff. That's what the initial reaction is going to be. But after the fallout and after all of the celebration, you're going to find out that when they try to do things dirty and when you try to do things backhanded, because let's be clear, for all of the people that are happy that she's out, what are you getting in return if she's not in? All right, let me pose it to you this way, because I got a completely different way to look at it. Because this person is basically telling you that they did it the wrong way, okay? So for all of the people that are happy that she's out, let's look at it from a different perspective. I'll use a different example. I like to use examples in order to illustrate a point, okay? Everybody was happy that Lori Lightfoot was ousted as mayor of Chicago. What did they get in return? Brandon Johnson, who in my opinion is 10 times worse. When we don't actually go through the process to inform ourselves, and the only thing that you're doing is voting based off of hate, you can't make an informed decision. And who's to say that the person that is then representing them in the Democratic primary is any better or different, and that they're not going to be exponentially worse, or they may be better than Tiffany Henyard. Everybody that is celebrating her ouster, they're not even informed enough to realize what the thing that the person that is her opponent is running on, and how would they be any different? How would they be any different? And see, people look at me and they say, oh, Anton, but she gone, she a criminal. Man, I don't care. I care about informing people and making informed decisions. And when people are armed with information, if they still make a wrong decision, then they have to live with it. But we cannot circumvent the election process, because when you start to skip steps, when you try to oust people real fast, when you have a 7-minute meeting, when everybody is not registered properly, when they didn't sign an affidavit, when you didn't send out all of the meeting notes, or the fact that you're going to have a caucus until the day of, then that, first of all, continues to put taxpayers at a disadvantage, because now you got to spend money in order to justify that you did what you did. And hopefully you don't have to go back on your word and do the thing that you did. And a lot of times what you do is you then help the person that you're trying to oust still get into office because you didn't do it the right way. If you are so confident that you can beat her, then beat her. If you are confident that you can beat her, then beat her. But what you're doing is that you're continuing to... We are so ignorant that we just react emotionally to everything. And so when I take a step back and I say, wait a minute, y'all. I don't necessarily care for her, but this ain't the right way to go about doing it. Oh, Anton, I can't believe it. Why you... Blah, blah, blah. That's why I'm able to make a smart business decision based off of logic, and I don't think and react based off of emotions. That's why I then get the results that I get, and I can stand on it, and I don't have to worry about anything coming back to haunt me. And so when you go about doing things wrong, which is one of the reasons why you got her in there in the first place, is because y'all keep on reacting emotionally and you won't go through the process. You won't inform yourself. Nobody that's even mad at her, that's mad at her ouster, can tell me anything about her opponent. Nobody can tell me anything about her opponent. How do you know you're not getting a Brandon Johnson instead of a Lori Lightfoot now? Because everybody was happy when they ousted Lori Lightfoot, but nobody realized that they was actually getting... They didn't just get a demon, because Lori Lightfoot was the demon and Brandon Johnson was the devil. They ousted the demon for the devil. Tell me about the person that y'all got. Tell me about the person that replacing her in the Democratic primary. Why don't y'all consider an independent? How come y'all not considering a Republican? Why don't you go through the process instead of trying, oh, you know what? We did that 30 years ago. We did that 40 years ago. We're going to go through the caucus. It's going to be 7 minutes. We're going to get her out of it. Now look at you. Now you got to go back on your word. You look at the whole township. All of them people that were saying, hey, goodbye. All of y'all look like fools. And this is the reason why y'all township and y'all cities is messed up in the first place. It's the reason why y'all townships and y'all cities is messed up in the first place. It's because it's all emotional, ignorant BS, and nobody can actually make an emotional decision and think that they're going to get great results as a result of it. Tell me about the other guy. Do you even know his name? Do you even know his name? Do you know what the voter turnout rate was for her to get 80-something% of the vote in the first time that she was there, that she became mayor of Thornton? Somebody said, AD, you emotional. You told somebody to suck it from the back on this show. No, that's called entertaining. I'm entertaining. That's what I am. I'm entertaining. All I'm saying is this. We have to start thinking our way through. We can get physical, we can get emotional, we can jump off the roof and all of this stuff. What I'm telling you is that when you go through the process and you do it the right way, when you win, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it 10 times over 10. When you do things the right way and you don't make a decision based off of emotion and you make informed decisions, it's always going to be beneficial for you in the long run. It's always going to work out. I guarantee you this. This is what I know for sure. One thing is for sure, and two things is for certain. Based off of the way that the people over there in Thornton Township and how they operate, and even in Dalton, based off of the way that they moving, nothing is going to change whether she's there or not. Because A, they still going to be a blue Democratic hellhole. B, you don't know anything about the person that's coming in to replace her. And then C, the same people that voted her in is still there that's continuing to make emotional decisions. It's got to be a mindset shift. It's got to be a mindset change. You got to be so fed up with yourself that you start to educate yourself and you make better decisions. Ain't nothing going to change. What you think that Dalton is going to be different, that Thornton Township is going to be different? It's not. It's not. Absolutely not. And you can move all you want to. You still got to take you with you. You can move all you want to. You still taking you with you. You taking the ignorant you that's dusty, broke, and disgusted. And just because you running away from your problems don't mean that your problems ran away from you.